But the latest buzz on the Clippers is not about that game per se. It's about something else. If you didn't see this, maybe not. We've learned now that the Clippers, just in case you had any doubts, are all in on Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, despite overwhelming evidence that this is not going the right direction. Owner Steve Ballmer recently declaring his determination to ride it out with the two headliners who rarely show up to work. They just have decided to socially distance from their job, which is playing plausibly in the NBA. So let us discuss the question. Why have the Clippers doubled down on Kawhi and PG-13? So I've got Alanis Morissette, Wyoming, and Monopoly. And we will connect all of these things together, and we are going to make a headache, which is what I have thinking about what should be and what is when it comes to the people's team, the Clippers. So first of all, understandably, Steve Ballmer is dead set on riding the wave, even if it turns out to be a tsunami. He's going to ride this out with Kawhi and PG-13 because the Clippers are fully invested in this. They have no other options. Now, all it takes is one little thing for this to be okay. We haven't gotten to that point yet. We're hearing that privately, though, that there are many people associated with the Clippers who have heartburn. And they're like, what have we done here? Because they moved mountains. No, I mean, seriously, they moved mountains to make this happen. And they expected to be in a much different spot. They didn't expect to be a mediocre team. The Clippers could be a mediocre team without Kawhi Leonard and Paul George on the payroll. And so Kawhi has taken this team down the garden path. Kawhi Leonard was the white whale. You know, the white whale, the legend of the white whale, pursued by many, never caught. And you had just about every team in the NBA begging, genuflecting to Kawhi Leonard to join their team. And he chose the Clippers. They won the sweepstakes. But as part of that deal, we know, I don't give you the whole history here, we know what happened. PG-13 was part of that. Kawhi Leonard wanted the Clippers to trade a bunch of draft picks and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, among others, to Oklahoma City in a show of loyalty, like a human sacrifice, to bring in his hand-picked running mate. And that's exactly what Steve Ballmer and the Clippers did. They said, F them picks, that's fine. And at this point in the story, the Clippers, what do they have? They have a Final Four berth, which is exciting. That was great. Great moment in Clipper history. They got to the Final Four for all that high-stakes maneuvering. But it really has now turned into like the lyrics of that Alanis Morissette song, Ironic. The Clippers met the man of their dreams and then met his beautiful wife, Humpty Dumpty. Okay, these guys are married to missing games. It's like dreaming of getting the greatest job you could possibly want and then getting the job and then realizing, boy, that job stinks. Why did I want it? Like, I wanted to be on radio. Like, and I like my job. But if I hated my job and I worked my entire life to get on the radio and then I got it and I'd be like, well, that sucks. How terrible would that be? And the Clippers, as a franchise, been waiting 50 years to get a headliner. A legit headliner. They got a legit headliner, and the guy didn't want to play. It's wild. You know, give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Now, page 2. So Steve Ballmer, who I understand was interviewed while he was skipping rope, unless he wasn't, in Portland there, going crazy about the Taj Mahal arena he's building in the hood in Inglewood. But Steve Ballmer's team has been bedeviled and bewildered with the two stars who are guilty overwhelmingly on all counts of absenteeism. It's not for a lack of spending. The Clippers have endless amounts of money. They are the big ballers of the NBA. $335 million for a basketball team. That's the payroll. That includes $140 million in luxury tax that Ballmer's paying. Now, don't feel bad for him. We don't need to have a bake sale for Ballmer. He can afford it. And that's nothing, right? He's worth almost $90 billion. So $335 million is a lot. But when you're worth almost $90 billion, it ain't that much. I'm convinced that Ballmer takes a bowel movement and it's worth $300 million right there. Now, Shouldn't Kawhi Leonard, though, and Paul George be better than this? Shouldn't they be better than this? Even if you're not a Clipper fan, shouldn't they be better? And I'm nodding my head, yes, 1,000%. And the numbers on this are staggering. Kawhi Leonard, after the game on Tuesday night, has now missed 107 of the last 111 games the Clippers have played. I can't even believe that. I had to write the math down again. I said, there's no way that's possible. Paul George, his resume, last 80 games the Clippers have played, he has been inactive for 57 of them. So that means Kawhi Leonard, if my math is right on this, my back of the napkin math is right, Kawhi Leonard has played in 3.7% of the Clipper games over the last season plus. Paul George has shown up for less than 30%. Or, to rephrase that, George has missed 71% of the Clipper games, and Kawhi Leonard has been a no-show for 96% of the recent Clipper games. Now, I'm all for a flexible work schedule, the home life balance, the work-life balance and all that, but this is absurd. Okay? It's absurd. Doesn't someone have to be the grown-up in the room? But they're hurt! Come on. Both Kawhi and PG-13. That's always the cop-out. They're dealing with injuries. But in league circles, it has been whispered in not-so-hushed tones that if this was the military, they'd have been court-martialed for malingering, grossly exaggerating their situations, avoiding regular season games like it's a hostile war zone. Now, I do know in the military, and we have many former military people, veterans, people that are in the military right now that enjoy the show. But as I understand it, in the military, you are given a dishonorable discharge. And you forfeit your pay, all of your pay, and you could go to prison for 3 years if you are found guilty of malingering. In the NBA, you get a vote of confidence from your boss, and both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are raking in $42 million per season to not do their job, to be spectators. And the thing, I want to go tough love here. I want to go tough love. Why does this not drive these guys crazy? Right? Why are they not wired to be upset by this? I don't get any sense that they care. And that's the most troubling part. It would be one thing if I thought, well, these guys are really trying to get back out in the court. They're really going for it. I don't get that sense. Do better. Be better. May I recommend following the Wyoming State Code of Ethics, which they hijacked the Code of the West. Take pride in your work, right? Take pride in your work. Do what has to be done. Always finish what you start. And unfortunately, Kawhi and PG-13, I hate to say this, but they're more like Eddie, right? They're not like me. They're like Eddie. We need dogs. Be a dog. We don't need no meows. We need dogs. We don't need no cats. All right? Final thought. Real quick. So what's it going to take for this to work out for the Clippers? That's the odd part of the story. Like, as angry as it is right now, as angry as I am and many people are that care about the Clippers, and the most popular team in LA, they own LA. They run LA. But this is crazy, right? That Kawhi Leonard and PG-13, as bad as they've been, not showing up to work, both these guys have a monopoly card in their back pockets. Get out of Clipper jail free. All they have to do is take the magic carpet ride, the great Hollywood rewrite, and they're the man in the arena, so they control this, right? Show up to work and change the ending. Perform magic, and you really only have to show up. The way basketball works, you only have to show up in mid-April when the playoffs start until late June, maybe early July, depending on when the finals end. And then all of that insubordination will be forgotten. Or you continue to show apathy and you give a rat's ass about your day job, and this becomes a cautionary tale. The ball is in your court.